Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King coming to you from the locker room today, and today we're going to be talking women's sports with head coach Tony Greystone of Islanders volleyball and head coach Royce Chadwick of Islanders women's basketball. That's coming your way today. Also, we have a special feature, though, on an Islander baseball player and his interesting journey to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Right now, let's start things off, though, with the head coach of Texas A&M Corpus Christi volleyball, Coach Tony Greystone. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
Well, first off, congratulations. Your highest ever league finish as the regular season has come to an end. You head to the Southland Conference as the number 3 seed, which is pretty spectacular. Now the planets must have aligned properly for this to happen, because you mentioned to me previously that it was going to require some help, maybe some substantial help for you to get that 3 seed. And it happened.
Yeah, it's a weird deal. You know, we knew we needed to go 2-0 last week. Sam Houston needed to go 0-2. And not only that, we needed to sweep Sam, and all those things happened. So it was just, I can't explain it. But, you know, it's one of those things you don't ask why, you just say thanks and you just move on. So we're the 3 seed, and I feel good about it.
The significance of a 3 seed, that there is tremendous significance, isn't there?
Yeah, we flipped the bracket, and we get away from the 1 seed. We get away from having to play the host school in the first round, and we get Houston Baptist that we're really familiar with. So it's a nice change for us.
You know, speaking of Houston Baptist, it is your upcoming opponent. Are you a believer in how difficult it is to defeat a team 3 times in a season?
I am. Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's just you gotta come up with some new stuff. You gotta make sure that you don't get soft and complacent about it. You can't look on to the next round, and that's going to be the message this week. You know, we're only thinking about HBU and nothing else.
Not, as far as anybody else is concerned, that message won't even be brought up.
Yeah, it's a 1-team tournament right now for us, you know, and, you know, once you can't predict what else is going to happen, and so we just take care of ours and then we'll move on.
You continually have had to make adjustments as the season goes along. If you could look back on the regular season, what worked out to be the biggest adjustment or the biggest decision that paid off?
Boy, you know, there's been a lot. You know, we've had a lot of lineup changes, but I think the biggest thing for us is Kelsey Felix took over as the second middle and really kind of claimed that spot. We got Ivy back at the end of the season and got her healthy again, or reasonably healthy, to where we could rely on her to be in the front row all the time. And then Kate Klepeka has really stepped up and given us another solid defender in the back row. So, you know, we've had a lot of depth throughout the year, but as it's gone on, some players have really risen up and created new roles for themselves.
Did you feel like at any point that was like, okay, we're gambling here, and let's just see how it pays off?
Well, in the middle, for sure, we knew that we had a couple of options, and Maddie Dowd has played really well. It's just offensively, she's just a little bit behind Kelsey, and so, you know, and Kelsey's block continued to get better, so it made it a little bit easier to get her in there. But, you know, when we play, whoever we play, they seem to do a good job, but it's just that consistency you're looking for and that trust that you can have, that you know you can give them a ball and they'll score a point.
Well, objectively, is your team playing their best volleyball of the season at this time?
You know, I think they are right now. Last week was as good as we've looked in a long time, and it was nice to do it against Sam, who's a big rival of ours and a team that we just typically struggle with, especially on the road. But, you know, after last week, we've beaten them 3 out of the last 4, so you know, maybe things are turning a little bit in that matchup.
Well, it'd be nice if that continues to be the case, obviously. Yeah. Now, you need to win 3 straight days in the conference tournament to win a Southland Conference championship. This is another reason why you play those heavy weekend tournament rotations earlier in the year, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And so this is where we can look back and say, you know, we've kind of been through this high volume against quality teams back to back, and you know, you kind of prove yourself early on, and then you get into teams that you're more familiar with, but you know, you still have this whole body of work that you have to rely on, and for us, it's the quality of our preseason and the travel we've been through, and you know, just the volume of matches we played. So, you know, we'll be falling back on a lot of those lessons we learned this week for sure.
Well, I tell you one thing, it's been a long and pretty difficult and arduous season at times. Physically, how are you holding up? Because that has been a question mark for us.
It has been, and we knew going in that we were going to be having to patch some things together and hold some kids out, and you know, just kind of take our lumps because we didn't, you know, we had the big picture in mind, and but now we're good to go and everybody's all in, and you know, Ivy's going to play till her legs fall off, and Ashley will do the same thing, and you know, it is what it is, but you know, they're more than willing to do it, and we're just going to ride it out.
Well, this past Saturday it was Senior Day here at the Dugan Wellness Center, and before the win, you honored Brianna Brink, Ashley Phelps, and junior Haley Satterwhite, whose career is coming to a close due to some chronic injuries that is going to go ahead and shut down her career. But we have talked about them before, but will you re-emphasize their impact on the development of the program over the years, not this year, but over the entire stretch of their time here at the Islanders?
Absolutely. Ashley and Bree were my second recruiting class, and they were kind of that last year that we were still trying to figure things out. That was their freshman year, and that was the year Ashley got hurt and did her knee, and so she pretty much missed the whole year. But Bree was a starter from day one, actually led our team in kills her freshman year. But then that second year, their sophomore year, that's when we really, made our move and
21 wins.
21 wins and third in the conference that year, and had a really big year. And so they really have been the catalyst for us getting to where we are now and helped us bridge that gap. And so, they're that last group that knows what it's like to really rebuild and struggle a little bit. And so they've got a really nice perspective on everything, and have been able to really show the younger girls some good lessons and make sure they appreciate where they're at right now, because it wasn't always this way. But I have a lot of respect for those two, and I really appreciate what they've done, and it's going to be difficult to not have them in the gym every day.
And I know with someone like Haley as well, you look, every time you're bringing somebody in, you're looking for a four-year player, but this is just the reality of the elements. It's time to just shut it down.
It's just bad luck, and she's got an injury that, when you're a volleyball player and you've got a bad back, I mean, good luck. There's just nothing you can do, and hers is significant. So, I appreciate her helping us, especially in the preseason this year, while she was still fresh enough to give us something, and we could rest Ivy and Ashley. And I think a big reason why we're where we are now is because early on we were able to take advantage of Haley and get those other girls out of the lineup.
She picked up an all-tournament selection along the
way
as well.
That's right. She had a really nice year.
She sure did. There's no doubt. Well, by the way, those three players are outside hitters. 3 of your 4 top outside hitters, as a matter of fact.
Right.
When did your recruiting focus on this problem that you have now with 3 of your 4 top recruits?
Well, it's always been a focus for the 15 class. We knew going in that we were going to lose, Ashley and Bree for sure, and we knew that Haley was a real possibility. So we've had some plans in place, and later on today the 15 class will get announced, and it'll all make sense.
Announced this week?
Yeah, hopefully today. Yeah. Wow. We got one last kid that's going to sign, and she'll do it this morning, and then we'll release it.
Well, be looking for that. GoIslanders.com.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Coach, I appreciate it. Good luck this week. It is going to be something special. Any last thoughts? What's necessary for success this weekend?
We just got to play hard, be confident, and really believe in what we're doing, trust each other. For us, our game is in good shape. It's really just about how we approach it and take care of our side of the net.
Once again, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Tony Greystone joining us here in the locker room, all part of Islanders Insider. When we come back, we have a special feature on Frankie Salas, an Islanders baseball player that has a very interesting journey to becoming an Islander. Stay with us. More to come. Islanders Insider continues. Whether you're on the road or at home, GoIslanders.com is your source for Texas A&M Corpus Christi athletics. From live stats to live video to all the latest news, GoIslanders.com has everything to keep you up to date on all the latest on your favorite Islanders team. Check out Islanders schedules and statistics and learn more about the student athletes at the Island University. Get tickets, Islanders game day gear, and more by clicking your way to GoIslanders.com today. Go Islanders! Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we have a very special feature on an Islanders baseball player, Frankie Salas, on his very interesting and challenging journey to the Island University.
Islanders baseball's Frankie Salas has had a long journey to get to the Island University. There have been plenty of bumps along the way, even dating back to his high school years in Mexico.
After trying to move to Tijuana, to that other high school, I didn't get accepted. So I was going to come back to Rosarito, and I got an offer to go to the same high school my brothers went to in San Diego, like 10 years before me.
After high school, Salas had multiple opportunities in front of him, but wanted to take the path that he felt was right for him.
Some guys asked me, what do you want to do? I was like, hey, I would like to go study, because I would like to polish my skills in baseball, and also my English, because my English wasn't very well till, I'll say, my freshman year of college, and I mean, I'm still learning. I think it's just a process.
Coming out of the Northwoods Summer League, Salas is playing at a very high level for Cochise College, where his play ultimately paved the way for him to become an Islander.
I was I mean, the most consistent pitcher, and I felt better. My level went so high as a player that I felt confident, and I mean, all the players at my JUCO felt the same way. So when the season started, it was just shown with the stats and with the results we had. We made it all the way to the JUCO World Series. It was a beautiful experience after those workouts at 6 a.m. And you know, the ups and downs, and it was just a special memory that it made me gain a spot here for the Islanders.
You know, Coach Ramirez recruited him out of Cochise Junior College, you know, and I remember Ram calling me, "Hey, I think we got a guy, the last piece," because it was late when we added Frank, and I think we got a guy that can really hit. He's sitting in the middle of the order at a JUCO that's at the World Series. You know, what else are we looking for?
Sauce has an interesting perspective, seeing life's roadblocks as opportunities instead of challenges, an outlook that is just part of his positive personality.
I don't know. I don't see it as a challenge, but more as a journey and adventure that I love. That it's something that I'm blessed, and I mean, I'm the youngest of my brothers, so I've been able to see their examples and try to not get the mistakes that they did.
It goes back to the glass half full, glass half empty. You know, he's a half full guy. I think he sees it as a challenge. You know, some people who aren't fluent in English might say, "Hey, coach, feel sorry for me because class is going to be tough and I got to go slower on notes and how I'm getting through." But he sees it as a challenge and something he wants to do and something he wants to be good at. You know, so I know he works hard at academics to maybe overcome some of his shortcomings.
Through hard work and dedication, Salas has found himself as one of the senior leaders of this year's team, a responsibility that comes with big expectations.
I think you're going to get a little fire from him. I think he's going to be a senior leader from us, which is, you know, that's a role he has not had to play. You know, at our school in his first 3 semesters, he hasn't been asked to do that. I think when the games get going in the spring, I think you're going to see that side of Frankie come out. And obviously the expectations for the team are big. And I think you're going to see Frank push that and be a leader for the young guys.
For Islanders Insider, I'm Teddy Medina. We'll be right back.
The Southland Conference is 4,200 student athletes from 13 member institutions competing in 17 NCAA Division I sports. We are Southland Strong.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. Time to talk some Islanders women's basketball. The head coach joins us at this time. Coach Royce Chadwick. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Stephen. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Doing good. Regular season's underway. You know, it is currently underway. You had an exhibition win over Texas A&M International here on campus, and then you opened up on the road at UNLV. Now, let me ask you this first and foremost. How did the team cope with their trip to Vegas off the court? I mean, not so much with the glitz and glamour of Vegas, but you know, just their first road trip, you know, and everything that kind of goes with the rhythm of a road trip.
Well, there are a whole lot of new people on this team. We have a ton of people that have never played Division I. I think that there is a growing process. You don't sleep in your bed. You don't have the food that you normally cook. You are playing in an arena that is, Thomas and Mack Arena is a nice arena and a very historic place, and you're going to Las Vegas where the lights are extremely bright. I thought overall we handled it adequately, but not good enough to win a basketball game. So our freshmen, I think were, you know, wide-eyed and in awe, and we had a lot of our transfers that I thought started very slowly, but I think that the thing we told them before the game, you don't get to play the conference tournament at home. We have to go on the road to do it. This is dress rehearsal for that. So hopefully we'll be better the next time we go on the road.
No, there's no doubt. Now, looking at the box score, I wondered, did your team suffer maybe just from some nerves in the first half? And I say that because, it was a season opener. By the second half, the numbers kind of turned around. You outscored them, you out-rebounded, you had more steals than UNLV. Do you think the first half was just that, maybe some nerves and just a little antsy once they were out there?
Well, we have 4 new starters that we did not have last year, and our next 2 or 3 players we're bringing in off the bench don't have very much experience. So, yes, I think we were in awe to begin the game. They hit a couple of shots that their stats from last year say they aren't going to make, and I think that we got back on our heels. We did that for about 10 minutes. We got down, and then we began to settle in and start to play. And I thought second half we played much better, but my concern is, are we going to be that kind of team that we show up to see how you're playing instead of showing up to say, here's what we do? So we got a lot of things we can work on, and hopefully we'll be ready by Friday.
Always an opportunity to turn it into a coaching moment, isn't there?
Well, we got a lot of good breakdown video. We've already graded it. There are some things that scare us to death. Our point guards, got more rebounds than 5 of our post players combined. And so they have to get on the boards. And I think it was just, they got a 6'5" kid, they had a 6'4" girl, and it was really rough underneath. And the game was officiated like last year's games, in that you couldn't make a cut. You got bumped off of every cut. It was very physical, a lot of hands on the driver. But we do that in practice every day, simply because we don't call fouls, and you can always back it up for a game. It's really hard to make your kids more physical. So we adjusted to it, but we were a little bit in awe right off the bat of how physical the game was.
The beginning of the season, there's always emphases by officials. You're going to see a lot more whistles early. Sometimes it kind of slows down a little bit later in the year, but is that what you're seeing right off the hop?
Well, we got some calls that we don't usually get on the road. The calls, I thought, were...
I'm saying you got no one was working against you, just that they're just going to, a lot more calls on hand checks, a lot more things that they call early in the year than they do late in the year.
That's what we get at home.
Okay.
That's what they did in our scrimmage. That's what they did in the international game. Any hand check was automatic. Out there, it was, that was only one hand on and a forearm. It was going to let that go.
Okay.
When you cut through the lane, if you are displaced, that's a call that is immediately called. And they didn't call that either way there. And so we just had to adjust, and finally did, but it was a little bit too late.
I understand. Now, a lot's been said about junior transfer Shea Weaver since he arrived last year on campus. Now, in 2 games in an Islander uniform, including the exhibition game, she's averaging 19.5 points per game. But despite the fact that she worked out with the team all last year, do you think she's gotten completely comfortable with her new role now as maybe your primary scorer?
No, I think you set out a year, you're rusty. It'll take Shea, I think, 6-7 games before she really gets in the flow. Janeska Lawler set out last year. It'll take her a while. You just don't get that game speed. It's just something about shaking the rust off. And I think Shea is extremely rusty. I think she'll get better as she plays.
Now, Olivia Foudy, she's a senior transfer for you. She seems to be settling in quite well, as a matter of fact. I know it's early, but in those 2 games, once again, an exhibition in the UNLV game, averaging 17 points per game and 15 rebounds. Numbers are great, but what I like about her is her intensity, and I think the leadership she gives you on the floor.
Well, very difficult to move into a program and lead the team. She's done that. Extremely difficult to be the only senior on a basketball team. She has embraced that role. Number one, she's the kind of character person you want to be around, and I think all of our team has fallen in and said, okay, lead us, and she leads by example. She leads with her intensity. She leads with her voice. But if you give us 8 or 10 games for her to lead us, we're going to be a much better basketball team, and I think that we're just a work in progress, an awful lot of new things going on.
Sure.
And Olivia's had a double-double every time she stepped out there, so we feel pretty good about where she's headed.
No doubt. Now, let's talk about some of the returning players. Sophomores Cassie Jones, Kamisha Davis seem to be trying to find their groove right now here in the early going. But also another newcomer, actually, Jennifer Ramirez, your point guard. I know at Vegas she had 7 turnovers. Was that just her trying to do a little bit too much?
I think so. I think she got really disenchanted because she's a about 110 pounds and about that big around, and it was a very physical basketball game. And she felt early that she was not able to play her game, and it was both ways, and she had to adjust to that, and I thought she did. I think she had 5 of those turnovers in the first half. So, you know, it was a situation where she was getting bumped, and she thought that, you know, that she was being fouled, but she was not being fouled. They were letting us play, and she adjusted to that pretty well, I thought, in the second half.
Now, the University of Houston Cougars are next for your squad at home in the Dugan Wellness Center on Friday, the 21st. First off, the Dugan's always been kind of a comfortable place for you guys. I know you really like playing in the Dugan Wellness Center on campus.
Well, we need a call to all the fans. Please come and help us win this basketball game, because they are UNLV's big sister. I think Houston is every bit as talented as UNLV. They have the same size. They are very defensive minded. I think they held North Texas to 45 points. So we're going to have to execute. We're going to have our fans backing us, and it's a big challenge for our basketball team. But when we set the schedule up, we knew that the UNLV, Houston, Rice, those first 3 games were going to be a Herculean challenge. And, you know, hopefully we're going to get better, and it'll help us later on in the season to have played that kind of schedule.
Well, the Cougars in their exhibition game throttled Houston Tillotson, but in that North Texas game, it was actually 42 points, but the final score was 46-42. They only scored 46 points themselves. Quite low scoring. Is that Houston's MO? And the one thing I did notice, in that box score, they did have 30 turnovers.
Well, you know, when you look at the Houston's preseason prognostication from their head coach was, we're going to shoot it in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock, and we're going to press you and run. So that tends to let you think they want to do what they did to Houston Tillotson. They want to run the ball, score 100 points. Against North Texas, they tried, but North Texas was back protecting the paint. It was really a very ugly basketball game.
Okay.
And I don't think that's the way they want to play, but they're going to be in our grill, and they're going to be trying to run the basketball. We have to stop the break. We have to be in the paint. We have to rebound, and we got to handle their pressure.
1, 2, 3, just like that.
Well, if you can get it done, you win. If you don't, you lose. You know, it's pretty simple stuff.
Well, it's going to be an exciting night again, Friday the 21st in the Dugan Wellness Center. The Islander women and the University of Houston Cougars coming your way. Coach, good luck to you.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Royce Chadwick joining us here in the locker room. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics.
Hey, you, couch potato. What are you doing at home? This is where the action is. These seats are great. I can even yell at the coach from here. Hey, coach!
Hey, Coach, these are great seats.
I know, and it's a great game, too.
I wish I could sit here.
Hey, who's coaching the team?
Islanders basketball season tickets are on sale now. Call 825-BALL or visit GoIslanders.com to order yours today. Welcome back to Islanders Insider. Let's bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. Islanders volleyball will start the Southland Conference Tournament this weekend on Friday the 21st as they take on Houston Baptist at 1:30. This all taking place in Natchitoches, Louisiana. They'll hopefully advance to the second and third rounds on the 22nd and 23rd. Islanders women's basketball will take to the court on Friday the 21st as they host the University of Houston at 7 o'clock in the Dugan Wellness Center. Then they'll return to the court on the 24th, that's Monday, as they head on the road to Houston as they take on Rice University at 6 p.m. Islanders men's basketball will continue on the road as they take on the St. Louis Billikens at 1 o'clock on Sunday the 23rd, and will continue the road trip on the 25th as they take on Bradley at 7 o'clock. Once again, we want to thank Tony Greystone, head coach of Islanders volleyball, for joining us here in the locker room today. And of course, Royce Chadwick, head coach of Islanders women's basketball, for stopping by as well. And of course, most importantly, we want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Stephen King. You've been watching Islanders Insider.